What is going on, you guys? It's your boy. Why do I do what I do here? And we're back with episode 16 of my video game therapy series. It's been a while. I haven't played in like 2 days because I've been busy doing shit, but I figured I'd give myself a break. It's not like I wasn't like required to do anything. It's just I was trying to get ahead, and I had opportunities to be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna play Minecraft. But I was like, I should probably smarter for me I can play more Minecraft later if I get ahead and get this X, Y, and Z done, so that I can play more, I guess. Does that make it a better or a worse decision if it's gonna net me playing more Minecraft? I don't know, whatever. At least in the meantime, I've compiled a heftier list of shit for me to talk about, which is good or bad, depending on if you enjoy listening to me talking about this shit. But yeah, I got some interesting things. There was a day where I was very peeved, just at just humankind. Not humans as a species, but individual humans within our species being just difficult to be around. Just some mannerisms and things that are just personally very, very irking, which again, I'm not sure if there's any way to get around this, right? Is there a way that you can completely be just apathetic towards the behaviors and mannerisms that piss you off about people? I guess I'll go through some of the notable ones that I encountered. People that these are just people that, not even people that piss me off, but these are certain people that piss me off that do these regularly, but ultimately just mannerisms that piss me off about people. So it could be a person, entirely, or it could just be a mannerism that they engage in regularly that is frustrating. People that just, okay, so the first one, people that just make weird noises just while existing. Like, they have to, I don't know, it's like the grunting and groaning and the mouth noises that are just unnecessary. I feel like we all maybe have somebody that does this. I don't know, they just have to lick their lips all the time, and it just results in these very, very uncomfortable noises that they won't just shut up and be silent, or they just have to if it is silent, they have to just start humming some stupid fucking song, or the conversation is silent for 2 seconds, so they have to start a cappella singing some fucking song. That, to me, that's just insufferable. I don't know if you expect me to, motherfucker, that's annoying. If you expect me to harmonize with your shitty a song I don't know, or what you're trying to get at, how is it supposed to spark more conversation? And the idea with grunting or just why would you do that? What are you trying to, are you trying to say something? Then speak English. Don't even if you said it in a different language, that'd even be more worthwhile than you just grunting like a fucking animal. If you're trying to tell me something, you're tired or whatever, and yawning does not fit into this category. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just expunge yawning, because yawning is normal. A lot of times you can't help it. Sometimes I yawn just because I'm fucking tired. It's not a purposeful yawn. Fake yawning absolutely fits into this category, right? A fake yawn, especially the choice to make an audible sound when yawning, right? Because I feel like that, to a certain extent, is a choice, right? You can do that. Everyone is capable of doing the silent yawn, where you yawn but you don't make any audible noise. You just kind of do silently, or you put your hand over your mouth to kind of stifle any sounds that might escape. But the moment you make the decision to go while you're yawning, fuck you. Okay, fuck you. Actually, fuck you, because that is a conscious choice that you made to make that sound. For what? Oh, are you tired? What do you want to say to that? How am I supposed to respond to an audible yawn? Like, so just don't do it. I mean, unless you're trying to end a conversation, just be like, fuck you. I guess I understand that. And not that this is like it's a common occurrence. It's just things that have occurred that it's unnecessary. So yeah, just like noises that people have to make to exist. I don't care. Stop making noises. Don't just have like, like if you have some like awkward tick or something, like, I don't know, fucking work on it, right? If you're somebody that has to break out into song, if there's a 2-second delay in the conversation, can you at least recognize that I don't want to partake in this activity, and by you making it into some a cappella karaoke session, you're just making everyone uncomfortable. Now I don't want to talk to you ever. So, I mean, you want to know why you don't have any friends? No. This is why I don't have any friends. Oh, God, that's bad. Anyway, that's just frustrating for me. So it's an annoying quirk of people. Along that same line, just because there was a day that I compiled all this, by the way. It wasn't today, so I'm hoping I don't sound as frustrated about it. But there was a day where I was just thinking about this stuff, and it was just like, fuck these people. Another one, kind of in the same category, is people that don't have the bubble awareness. And what I mean by that is they don't have the awareness of their personal space bubble. So they either, like, a good example of this is like if you're walking on a sidewalk, on a populated sidewalk, and you know that you're a slow walker, get the fuck out of the center of the way, because now it's a small walkway, I have to maneuver around you because I'm actually moving. You're barely moving. You're wide, and so you're just like these wide steps, super slow in the middle of the walkway. Like, at least if I'm like carrying a mattress or something, I'm gonna move be as much out of the way as I possibly can, aware that people are it's a populated walkway. People are moving, trying to get past me. But just the lack of awareness of some people to just sit or to just stand, or because I'm not even gonna call it walking because you're moving so slow. How do you even call that walking? But if you're gonna do that, I don't have a problem with you doing that. That's fine. You can be a slow walker. Maybe it's, I don't know, whatever. Get the fuck out of the way. Like, don't stand in the way. Realize that people are trying to get somewhere, and by you just like sitting there moving in slow motion, I have to do some like NBA juke style thing to get like to get around you. So like, I take one step and then you like slowly meander to the other side. I'm like, I just have to like basically become thin and jump to the side while I try to get past you, squeak past you. So if you are someone that does that, fuck you. That's all I have to say on that. I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, trying to get up here, but whatever. Anyway, those people are annoying. Also, people just like in conversation who just like impose their physical bound. Like, they don't. I mean, I have a pretty big bubble, right? Like I want to keep a very respectful distance. I err on the side of giving you more space than you need versus less. And I'll lean in if I don't hear something. So that's another thing. It's not like you can't like, put your ear forward and lean forward to say, hey, like, I didn't hear what you said. Say it again. But people that just assume that I have this puny bubble and I'm like, I could have you in a full like embrace and still feel comfortable having the normal conversation with you, you're crazy. Absolutely not. Like, give me some fucking room, please. Can you not tell, like, by the way my chin is scrunched up that you're too fucking close to me? You back up. We're not in a club. We're on, and I guess it is different. The context of it is very different, right? It depends on where you're at and what you're doing. But I'm speaking having no feel of the situation. Like, if we're at a freaking club or something where the music's blaring, no one can hear anything, like, okay, you can get pretty close, and I'm aware of that. Like, that's fine. I'm talking about we're at, a park. It's wide open. I can hear every word. I can hear every little sound you make. Every little nervous tick sound that you make coming out of your mouth, which is disgusting, but whatever. And now you have the audacity to pop my bubble. Like, again, I understand your bubble is smaller than mine, but respect the fact that I might have a different size bubble than you. So err on the side of this person has a bigger bubble, unless I give you any reason to think otherwise, which I don't, I promise. So that's just another, I don't know, people with no bubble sense, no bubble feel, is another thing that pissed me off on that day. It was just strangers too. It wasn't even people I was talking to. It's just like you're standing in line and it's like dick to ass all the way through. It's like, I mean, I understand, like, you can turn. You don't have to, like, put both your nipples on my back. You can, I don't know, back up or turn to the side even if it's a problem. Lean against one of the edges of the line so it's still clear that you're in line, but you're not physically intruding on my space in a way that makes me uncomfortable. Like, just having some wherewithal on that is I guess is not a thing to, is not an expectation anymore. It's a privilege, which is just unfortunate. I don't know. I think these are things that piss everyone off about some people. And I'm not even sure if it's like I don't think it's a majority of people that are violators of these, physical space and common social decency principles. I think it's a minority that is just, they're such blatant violators of this unspoken law that they piss everyone off. So I don't know. Again, no complaint about not having friends. That's bad. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, those people really grind my gears. So I guess on the same, I guess the last thing I'll say about people that piss me off is it goes in the same vein of just like having no feel, for lack of a better word, is people just don't know when to shut up. Like if you say a joke and it doesn't land, just like, unless you really know your audience and you're like going somewhere with it, just pinch it off. Okay, just like eat the loss, take your failure gulp and move forward. The joke didn't land. It is what it is. Maybe make a joke about the joke that didn't land. Otherwise, shut up. Cut your losses, move on. And people that just try and they just throw more volume at it, more coal at a unlit fire that it's gonna explode all of a sudden. All you're doing is suffocating it and forcing everyone out of the room because there's fire, there's smoke everywhere, but there's no fire. Metaphorically, I guess. But either way, people that just don't know how to shut the fuck up. If you're, if that's been clearly expressed by the people you're talking to. So, again, I'm not really a lot of people are fine with that. They are very aware of the social nuance of shutting up, but I don't know if there's like an attention, some kind of like homeschool thing, like the homeschool kids are like weirdos and don't have the social skills because they just like only interacted with their mom and dad who like would let them talk and do everything. I don't know. There's some phenomenon with like homeschoolers, and I'm not saying homeschoolers as like if you were homeschooled then this and that. I'm saying like generally speaking, those are that's the segment of society that is most often associated with stuff like that. That kind of lacks the nuance of social interaction. Which, I mean, I guess kind of brings back my bullying thing into play, but I'm not I'm not saying you have to be bullied to understand social nuance, but I don't know, maybe it helps. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the subset of people that I associate with, specifically insufferable social interaction is those that don't really get it, I guess for lack of a better way of phrasing it, that's one way to do it. Yeah, I guess the last thing, this doesn't have to do as much with like any people specifically. Well, I guess it does, but like especially in a place that there's a lot of new people or first time people, it's like if you're going to a gym, right? It's you very well kind of have there's a protocol that you would expect. You kind of You go to the front desk, you check in. There's probably a bathroom or a locker room somewhere. You go there, you lift. There's like it's a pretty standard protocol for like what to do when you walk in, or what's at the gym, right? Like what kind of machine, like, there's not a whole lot of questions that you might have. But this is particularly restaurants, I think, are the biggest, like, violators of this, is they just kind of expect everyone to be a regular there. They have like no menu posted, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want?" I don't. What do you have? Is there a menu? Or is like all you have is like 3 closed containers, and you're asking me like, I don't. There's an expectation where I like understand all the protocol of like where to start. If there's not like any clear, I don't know where the line starts. I don't know where any like you didn't. There's no information about it. Like, how am I supposed to know? Unless I've been here 1,000 times, I don't know what the hell's going on. You gotta guide the newcomers, because I don't live here. I don't work here, right? Especially that's one thing. It's like, I don't fucking work here. It's like, hey, where's the bathroom? It's over there, idiot. It's like, how the fuck was I supposed to know it's over there? Like, you work here. I don't expect everyone to have the same level of familiarity with this space and the protocol that comes with this establishment that you do, because you work here. I don't. Like, so be sympathetic towards people that don't know what the hell's going on because they've never been here and they don't work here. And I mean, gym's probably a bad example because there's people that probably still haven't gone to a gym and don't really know what the hell they're doing. But even that, I think the important thing with it is to at least be understanding and not be a dick to, and not be purposely difficult or have this expectation of exactly what's going on. So like my example that I think, the example that had made me write this down was, it was a restaurant. So I went to, it was not a restaurant. It was just like some offshoot or some other, it's like Chipotle, but with like different food and stuff or something. That's what I learned it was. I didn't know what it was. When I walked in, there's no menu. There wasn't really even a line. It was just like the door was in the center and the door didn't really like lead towards any kind of line. So I realized I was the only one in there. Wasn't the only one person in there. I was the only person that was like entering the line. So there wasn't like a obvious, hey, you should go here type of thing. So no menu. There's no real semblance of a line. So I didn't know where to start. So of course I walk up and I'm at the wrong end of the line, of course. And so they're like, hey, my line's right here. I'm like, all right, okay, well, there's no sign. There's no like, how was I supposed to know that? Okay, fine. Like, you don't have to, okay, fair enough. I'll walk over to this area that's the line. And they go, all right, what do you want? There's no menu. I'm going to guess that you guys serve food by the name of the restaurant and the decor of the place and the fact that I smell food and I see stuff. But other than that, I don't know what food you have. I walked in here just because I saw the sign and I haven't eaten today. So I was going to get something to eat and I was going to try this place. And so now you're like almost shaming me to a level that I don't know the protocol. I don't know. He's like, all right, what do you want, a bowl or a wrap? I said, okay, well, now I have some more information. I know that you guys have bowls and wraps. That would have been good information to start with, right? Maybe instead of like, what do you want? Or just like give me an upward head nod, like, yeah, what it is. Like, what do you have? I don't know. Like, I don't go here every day, so I've never been here. And I feel like a lot of people that come here have never been here. It's not like I'm in the middle of nowhere or it's a McDonald's that everyone's been to 1,000 times. I've never even heard of this place. So you have to have some amount of like, assuming that I don't know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. So I even said, like, I've never been here. I don't know. And they go, so I guess a wrap. Okay. So, all right. Okay, what else? Okay, again, what else? What do you have? Do you is it a salad wrap place, or is it rice, or is it chickpea? I mean, what is you have? And they're like, okay, we got, brown rice, noodles or whatever. I'm like, okay, see, now I have more information. Again, I made it clear already that I've never been here, and there's not like there's a line of people waiting that I can kind of watch. I'm the only person in here, so I don't have no sample size. I'm going off literally nothing. There's no menu. I can make a guess on the food based off the smell, but I'm not a bloodhound. I don't know the exact smell of this cuisine. I can take guesses, but I might be wrong. So I don't want to look stupid and ask for something you don't even have. So it might be helpful to instead of just saying like, what next, or what do you want, give me like, oh, would you like rice or chickpea or whatever other shit they had, right? And also like the food itself wasn't open, so you couldn't like look in and see. Okay, there's like predefined section where there's like a section for a wrap versus like at Chipotle. There's like a section where there's like bowls and wraps. There's a section where there's rice and other stuff. There's a section where there's the meats, so you can kind of give a sense of, all right, here's kind of the options you have. It's all under like those metal things, and so every time you'd ask for something, they would pull the metal container off to expose the food and then dig out whatever it is. Okay, well, I can't see what's underneath there. I don't know what's under there. What are the options? And so I think I asked this question throughout this interaction 5 times. Like, what are my options, right? And so even like with the protein, I said, okay, what's your protein? What are the options? Again, I've made it clear now like 5 times. I've never been here, so give me the fucking options. Don't keep asking me these questions that I'm clearly not going to know the answer to. I don't know what you have. I'm just going to chicken. Well, what kind of chicken? We have three different types of chicken. That would have been information for me to know. Okay, again, I'm the only person in here. I have no I can't just order whatever the person in front of me ordered. I have to, because there's nobody in front of me. I'm the only person in here. And it's not like you're in a rush. Like, there's no one here. So you can take the extra half second to explain, like, who's even coming in here that knows like the ins and outs. This is not a restaurant chain. I've never even heard of this place. It's like, no one has. I promise you, no one has heard of this place before, ever. So don't make assumptions about the protocol that I know what the hell's going on. And it's not even just restaurants. I feel like there's other places too where they're not beginner friendly. They don't like, they assume that you are very, very aware of exactly what to do and all this stuff and that. I think my first experience is like my first time going to the post office. They don't teach a class on how to go to the post office and like what the protocol is to like get I mean, I had you look it up and you eventually figure it out. It's not that hard, but like you also don't have to make it as someone who might work at the post office or be somebody patrolling around making sure no one's doing the wrong thing. It might help to like, be sympathetic and helping people understand what the hell to do because they may not have ever been there. And there's not a class they teach on that. So it's not like, it's like, maybe the post office thing is considered common knowledge. I remember the first time I was like trying to mail a package. This was probably like 6 or 7 years ago, so it wasn't any time soon. I've mailed lots of packages since then, but I remember distinctly going in like, okay, I have my item. I probably need some kind of, like I don't know what I need. Some kind of postage to affirm that it's okay. I probably need to weigh it at some point or something, and then I don't really know. So I was just like kind of meandering around, like, and luckily with kind of observing people and seeing what other people were doing and like the process, it wasn't that hard to get. But this restaurant example, there's no one in there, so I can't, all the food's covered. I don't know what they have. Again, I can guess. And what am I supposed to look at the guy working there and assume, okay, well, this guy's obviously be serving this type of food? Like, no, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, having some expectation of understanding the deep protocols and the ins and outs of your job or your establishment is just not user friendly. Like, it's a shitty experience because I don't want to have to ask. I don't know what the fuck to do. So like, I could appreciate some help. That's why you're working here, right? If everyone knew exactly what to do, no one need to work here. They would just leave it open. You can just serve yourself, and everyone knew exactly what's going on. They wouldn't fight. The reason you work here is to help people with the protocol of the establishment. So maybe you're just a shitty worker. I don't know. Like, probably, but like, it wasn't like I was going to McDonald's, and I don't expect McDonald's level service. But it's not cheap food, but it was like a more upscale version of a Chipotle with other food. Like, it's more, it is. And I would think that like, even the people at Chipotle are, that's not upscale, but at least they're not going to, it's also obvious what's there, right? That you can see all the food because it's there, right? Otherwise, I didn't see any of the food. I don't even work. Never been here. So I don't know. It's crazy. It was frustrating to me that there's this expectation of protocol. Like, I know exactly what the fuck's going on all the time. These places I've never been, so it's like, the hell's wrong with you? That's the reason you're working here. And it's just because you hate your life or are miserable, you don't have to impose your negative energy on other people, because then you're only going to hate it worse. The more you are just in a shitty mood all the time, telling people to go fuck themselves, with these snarty remarks, you're not doing anyone any favors, including yourself, right? So I don't know. That was just a frustrating experience that I, for some reason, felt the need to write down. But as I got into the story of it, I don't know, probably awoken whatever real frustration was down there with that specific interaction. I don't know. Next, I want to talk about being weird, because that's like a thing nowadays, right? People are, there's being weird is an interesting concept, right? Because I think everyone can agree that there's a good level of weird, right? Weird in the sense that you're interesting to be around, or weird in the sense that sorry, I'm gonna take a drink here. Weird in the sense that you have something interesting to say. Like, it's a good weird, right? People like that kind of weird. There's some line that's very nebulously defined where it's like, I guess the example you can use is like, people don't think it's that weird if you mix ranch and hot sauce or something and you dip your fries in it, right? But then it's like, you're weird as fuck if you, like, I don't know, like if you're a cannibal and like to mix your human fingers with ranch and hot sauce. I mean, there's some extent to where it's like you go from like weird to being like outright like creepy. So like, especially in terms of interests, like you can be interested in, I don't know, something kind of weird or quirky, like anime or something, right? And no one's gonna like, oh, what a fucking weirdo, you're anime. I mean, some people will, but like, I would give a little bit of patience with okay, this person's likes anime, like whatever. It's not my thing, but it's not like super weird. But then it's like, you go into the room and they have an anime pillow, and then you're like, okay, we've now ascended a level of weird, and now I'm uncomfortable. And I think it really varies from person to person, and there's definitely a point in time where you're like, all right, I'm now, your weirdness has now made me uncomfortable, and I no longer want to interact with you in some way. I don't know. It's an interesting thing about where that line is, right? I think the line is different probably for different people, but there's certainly a point for everyone that's like they decided stuff is too weird. And it goes from being weird and a good thing to weird and a really, really bad thing. There's not like there's a very strong drop off in terms of like whether or not it's acceptable. And it gets quick, right? It's not like the moment you see that anime body pillow, you're like, okay, it's over, right? But like, maybe it's okay to like be talking about whatever anime you like or something, I don't know, and maybe tell some weird story about it and like, oh, okay, cool. The moment you see like the jar of belly button lint or something, you're like, nope, see ya, you blew it, that's it. I don't know, it's just funny to think that like, and maybe it's also like the halo effect where it's like, if, I don't know, you want to like somebody because they're, attractive, or because of, I don't know, their parents are rich or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of reasons to attribute the halo effect to things, but that also is a variable in like this weirdness equation, where you kind of have to decide, all right, I can't put up with this, it's past my limit. I've hit, my stomach's full with the weirdness. And I guess some of it also brings it back to this idea of shame, right? Because I think shame has been something that has been decreasing, maybe linearly or exponentially. Either way, it's been decreasing in society at large. Like shame, people are less shameful of their interests, less shameful of their past, even less shameful of their crimes, right? They seem to act in less and less shameful ways, and treat themselves and others with less and less shame, just because everything's more accepted, right? We've been moving towards more and more acceptance related ideologies where everything's okay, right? It's okay that this and that, it's okay that this and that. And I think in a very blanket way, that's good, right? Being more accepting and whatever is good. But, I think shame as a human function and a social function especially, plays a role, does it not? Like, is there a reason you should be ashamed of something? You know? So I think about, like, I mean, food's a slippery slope to talk about this in, but it makes the most sense. Like, I mean, I think sex is probably another one that you could bring into this conversation, but, like, you know, I buy an entire pack of Oreos and eat the entire thing, right, or whatever. I feel shame, right? Right, I should feel ashamed, right? I mean, that's pig behavior, right? But it's easier nowadays to be like, you know, it's okay, right? I make mistakes. I shouldn't be ashamed. You know, maybe, I don't know. You know, at some point you have to be ashamed, and it's probably good to feel ashamed, right? You know, otherwise it's like, okay, then where does it end, right? You'll eat all the Oreos, and you're just going to be just doing whatever you want with no shame, ever. No shame at all. You know, and it kind of gets this excuse to just violate, principles of social interaction and even like self-respect, and towards this idea of, you know, acceptance and kind of lack of shame. Because acceptance can be thought of as like the dismissal of shame, you know, or the absolvement of shame, in the sense that if you accepting behaviors and things, you're kind of saying, you know, it's okay. You don't have to be ashamed of this because it's okay. You know, it's fine. And to a certain extent, I think being okay with stuff is fine. You should be, you know, okay with this and that. You know, of course, depending on what it is. I think that's also pretty important. And I think I'm not here to draw the lines. That's for other people and themselves to do. But I don't think shame outright should be something that people dismiss, right? You should feel ashamed if you do something stupid. That's important. I don't think you should dismiss feelings of shame, just like you shouldn't dismiss any other feelings, right? If you are, just like you shouldn't bottle up your, I don't know, emotions for sadness or for grief or something, right? Everyone agrees that bottling those up is unhealthy because it's, you know, can lead to a lot more. Shame shouldn't be any different, right? If you're ashamed of yourself or you're ashamed of your, I don't know, maybe more soberly, your career or your love life or whatever, if you're ashamed, it's important that that is addressed and understood. And I think, you know, too often we just want to say, oh, I just want to accept myself and do this and that and not be ashamed. You know, well, I don't know. Maybe you should be ashamed. And maybe not for anything in particular, but even for like, okay, fine, to what extent is it okay to like not shame for like, you know, sexual kinks or something? I don't know, that's another kind of a way that it's very much increased. I think eating is one way where people are generally less shameful, but even like more accepting these weird ass sexual fetishes and things. At some point you should feel ashamed. Like, you know, what am I doing? You know, the type of thing where it's like, no, it's okay, or, you know, we should accept these weird kinks. And yeah, again, maybe to a certain extent, okay, well, we can absolve some shame, but we also shouldn't totally, you know, turn a blind eye to what makes us feel ashamed internally. And I mean, some people just don't have shame. They don't have the shame gene. Makes them great salesmen because they just can push on and on and on, and nothing makes them feel uncomfortable, which is dangerous. I mean, it's helpful for, you know, pushing product, but it's dangerous to have no shame. And I think as a whole, especially in Western society, I think there's, you know, people don't like being shamed, right? People walk around with less shame. They're not, you know, versus I think, you know, I was talking to one of my friends from another country, and in some Eastern cultures, it's like, shame is okay. Like, you know, if you walk around with your body pillow, you know, hugging your body pillow, right? They're going to look at you like you're fucking crazy. And they will shame you by looking, like, again, glaring, making you look like you're fucking crazy. And you should probably feel ashamed because, you know, it's like, what the hell are you doing, right? You know, versus here where it's like people walk around with all these, like, you know, whatever political statement they're trying to make with whatever march it is or something, and they have no shame. They walk around with you know, metaphorically the same anime body pillow strapped to their chest, And people are told to be, hey, it's okay. Like, let them, don't shame them. It's, it's fine. Again, I think there's a line somewhere. Someone's got to draw it. Someone has to, what point is it okay to start being like, okay, we're going to shame you for that? Because that's, I think for, blatant crimes, people have no problem shaming, right? But especially in other things that aren't crimes, there's more sympathy towards not shaming people. As long as it's not blatantly illegal, and as long as it's, maybe if it's not hurting people, it's okay not to shame. But, I don't, maybe if it's not directly hurt, I'm not running around with a gun shooting people like that. Yeah, that's shameful, and people do shame for that, right? Anywhere. It's not, no one's like disregarding that, but there's even things that, to an arguable extent are just as dangerous, and from a societal standpoint, as walking around with, hurting people in that way. But, in some way you're kind of damaging your own image and yourself, right? Because deep down, you probably know that, like, what the hell am I doing type thing. I don't know. I think shame plays an important role, and I think if you feel ashamed or someone's shaming you for something, I think we should just give it more of a thought. Right? I'm not saying that there's any specific situations or contexts that really always warrant shame or don't or not or whatever. I just think we shouldn't ignore shame as a emotion on either end, right? Being shamed or feeling ashamed internally. Maybe it's something we should think about some more. I don't know. Again, maybe context to context, it might all vary. So there's not really a great way of framing it in a very catch-all type case, but on a general level, I think that shame plays a role in the human psyche, and I think especially it might be something that's more ignored in today's day and age. People have no shame in anything, right? So yeah, be ashamed of yourself sometimes, and don't feel too bad shaming other people, right? Because ultimately, I think, like I said, everything lives in this, everything's not binary, everything's kind of gray. And ultimately, you got to draw your own lines somewhere. You can't be, you can't be acceptance on the 0 to 1 scale, right? You're like the black and white scale. There's certain things that, maybe you as a person or collectively, you got to draw the line, right? Where is it? If we're going to use the 0 to 1 analogy, is it at 0.8? Like, is anything above the 0.8, level? That's unacceptable, right? That's our line, right? It's kind of the things with like grades, right? You can't, if you round everything up to an A, then it's it's really dangerous because you get idiots and geniuses both with A's. But you gotta draw the line. Okay, if you get below this grade, we're going to consider you did less well on this class than this person, right? That's just the way grades work, right? Especially in a day and age, especially where things like grades are like, oh, grades are stupid. Yeah, to be fair, it's not a great representation, but on certain issues, we got to draw lines to establish, yes and no. We have to make them black and white, even though the whole thing, it's all gray. It's a gray spectrum, but we have to draw lines and color things in black and white. And this is a metaphorical sense. I'm not saying for anything else. So I don't know. And I think you have to do that on an individual level. So decide where your own line is. And then, realize that maybe society has a different idea where that line is. And other individuals have other ideas of where those lines are for different issues, right? I don't know, for, social and just... social issues especially, I think, are the ones that are the most clouded in terms of being the most gray. But I think it's important to establish thresholds for yourself, just so you know where you stand. Because if you just kind of live in this gray nebulous area, you're not really rooted in any of your beliefs. And maybe if that is one of your beliefs, is to just have no hard standing, no fast rules that you live by. Like, all right, I mean, good luck. But I've drawn the line, so I say that's not a good thing, right? I don't know. I can establish a precedent for my my views. I don't know, because the world is gray, but acting and thinking and existing in the gray area doesn't help you, right? You have to act. It's 0 or 1 action, and those are binary things. So we have to. I think part of our intelligence and our judgment as humans is to take gray concepts that don't have like one right answer. It's not. There's never one right answer. There's not. Even answers that are like nothing's perfect. It's not a perfect answer. It's just like a darker gray versus lighter gray answer. But you ultimately have to be the one to say, I'm coloring this black. This is our answer. I don't care about all these other, we can consider this and that, and there's these subtleties to consider. Nope. It's crossed this line. I've established this. I'm going to color it white. And now it is, it is a 0 and 1 operation beyond this line. Because you can't, doing anything, 58 or 65 or 70, 71% of, that's a recipe for failure, I think. So, I don't know, part of our jobs as intelligent agents is to decide when something is better or worse. I think that's where robots, as robots, for better lack of a better term, that's where they really get us. Is they do operate on these, because as people that program them, we set these thresholds that they're going to either act or not act in. I think generally speaking, humans are more wishy-washy, right? We have these emotions that play in. We have this higher intelligence in the sense that we can recognize that things aren't perfect, but we don't just say yes or no. We just well, maybe, yeah. And I think it's more, you're aware of more of the data and the subtleties that come with it, but you don't act and think in ways that are 0s and 1s, that are yes and no. But agents, that's the only way they act, is in 0 and 1s. That's how they respond. So if it's some function, it's either above or below the line, and they execute regardless. Whereas humans are a lot more maybe kind of thing. So I don't know. It's interesting. Think about that. And I guess it kind of relates to shame in the sense that you got to decide at what point things should be shamed, right? Where's the line? You got to draw a line somewhere for yourself, for others, for your people that you want to hold to your, hold themselves to your standard, or if you're, whatever it is, whenever control you have over your yourself and your people in your group, you got to draw the line. You can't just let everything fly or let nothing fly, right? It's important that you establish your own rules and realize that they're not perfect, but everyone else's. So it's not like you're, maybe you're more right or less wrong than other people, but again, it's not, the point isn't to make this perfect algorithm or this perfect black and white continuum of every little topic and consideration for everyone to always live by. It's that's just not feasible. So it's still important to just have something though that is hard and fast, right? To create hard and fast rules for whatever, for yourself or for those that are in your area of influence. Especially if you have kids or something, you establish rules for your kids, and the rules aren't always always perfect, right? It's your kid can't be out past 10 o'clock, but oh man, if they were out past 10 o'clock this day, they would have, they would have gotten tripped by Beyonce and would have made $1 billion. So it's your rule's stupid because you whatever. And you could extrapolate all these instances where the rules don't work, but ultimately you gotta draw a line. Say no, you're not going out past 10 o'clock. That's a rule. I don't care what it is that you're missing. That's the rule. And I think that's a lot better way to do it. It's we'll play it by ear. We'll do this and that. Where it's you don't ever really establish anything that's that's strict is always gray, right? You can't really live in the gray. We gotta live in the black and white. The world is gray, but you have to live in the black and white, you know, or at least act in the black and white for most things. For other things, I think it's totally okay to just be nebulous and be in the gray, but it's more beneficial, I think, in a lot of other ways to operate in the yes and no versus the maybes. I think for something like this, where I'm just like kind of talking and thinking out loud, it's okay to be mostly gray, because that's, I don't know, that's the precedent I've established. But especially for things where it's more action based, you know, maybe if it's around your relationships, your career, it should be more like yes and no. I'm gonna put up with this. I'm not gonna put up with that. Versus like, we'll see. I might put up with it if it's, you know, I don't know. I'll kind of play it by ear. You know, it's like, well, no. You know, it's kind of that itself is a dangerous precedent, you know, in my mind. I don't know. Yeah. So that's, you know, some thoughts. I suppose it also brings in, sorry, I yawned. Realized I just violated my own rules. I didn't audibly make any noise, though. I didn't give the old, like, type thing, you know. It just kind of slurred my speech for a second. But I think I wasn't purposefully making the inaudible yawn sound that comes with, you know, the cartoon yawn, if I may. That is obnoxious, right? Anyway, but it also brings into this, I guess, my black and white talk. Not the racial black and white. I'm talking about the, like, decision-making black and white. I realize, like, even saying black and white, just as colors now, it feels problematic. It's not, right? But just you saying the word black, for some reason now, just feels like, uh-oh, here we go again. You know, like, where's the MAGA hat? It's crazy. It's so crazy. Just even the word itself now is so transfixed to this idea of racial theory that we're talking about colors here, not racial. I'm talking about the color black and the color white, not with regards to people, but it, even like when I say it, immediately my brain just pops into like something racial, which I think is a problem, because they're colors first, and they're not even. Plus, like, white and black aren't even good descriptors for, you know, people of African descent versus like European. Like, we're like orange or tan or red, or, you know, I don't know, even like yellowish to some level. And black people aren't like black. They're, you know, they're like I don't know, a darker shade of, you know, brown, or, I mean, I don't even know. What is the color? Either way, I think it's just kind of a stupid, you know, makes you think that, like, you know, if you have European descent, you're like Casper the Ghost. Like, you're actually white. Like hex code FFF, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like no one even looks like that. You're not that white, you know, you're just like tan-ish. I don't know. It's weird to think that those words now, those colors are so closely associated with their racial profilings that it feels problematic to even say colors now. Like, you know, and it's not the same with like red or green, right? I can say red, green. I can say, oh, my favorite color is red or favorite color is green or whatever. But like, favorite color is white. Interesting. Like, why? Tell me more. Why is your favorite color white? White? Is that a good color? You like that color? It's like, come on. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's funny to think how much the power dynamic has shifted with even just with speech. You know, so closely regulated. It's, you know, you gotta be careful what you say. Don't want to get canceled. I think it'd be fun to be canceled. You know, because I think they'd try and go after me and can't. I mean, for what? I don't know. It'd be weird to be like the idea of getting canceled is like. I guess I'm kind of a troll in a sense. I feel like my first instinct is just to kind of chuckle. That's kind of troll behavior, right? To chuckle at the thought of being canceled, just because I don't like, you know, I don't know. But it should be like a scary precedent, like, oh no, I'm going to get canceled. But I guess the people that would be doing the canceling, like, first of all, they're just giving you a bunch of attention, so they're not even really doing what they're saying. They're not even like accomplishing their goal of like giving you, whatever. But also the people, anyone that like would cancel me, I don't want you as any of my like audience anyway, right? I wouldn't even want to talk to. I wouldn't want to be friends with you. I wouldn't want to, like, because if you think that that's like a effective means of stifling speech, which again, I'm very much a proponent of free speech. I've said that in my last video. So what's your goal? Your goal is to like put proverbial duct tape over my mouth. For what? Like it's funny that you think I have such power to like, create this religious cult or something to go burn down all the, the government or something. I don't know. What do you think it's going to happen? Someone says something that you don't like. What danger does that impose on? Like, oh, your kid's going to hear it, and all of a sudden they're going to turn on these commies. Like, first off, your kids are in danger of joining some religious cult because of some whack dude saying some crazy shit. Like, your kids are stupid, and you fucked up. Like, as a parent, they don't have the critical thinking skills to, really reason through the ideas. And I think it might just come down to that as a whole, like, just critical thinking skills being more of a commodity these days. I'm not talking about academic critical thinking, right? Because that's very different, right? There's people that are brilliant mathematical reasoners that don't seem to apply that nuance in ways that aren't mathematical. And I think a lot of it comes down to just if you heard more things that you disagreed with and were forced to reconcile and come to terms with, your beliefs and what you heard and what you think, and again, articulating your ideas and how they stack up to ideas you disagree with, that's where you develop critical reasoning skills, like by arguing. And arguing ways that you're not going to like go home crying, right? I think my, one of my, it's my favorite pastime, but one thing that I've done a lot, and I encourage in the people that I've always lived with. For some reason, this always happens. Anyone I ever live with or spend any time with, I always do what I can to incite some kind of low stakes debate or conversation where we, for whether I agree with whatever the opinion is or not, I'm on the other side of the argument. We're on opposite sides of an argument of some kind, right? And it's not like, oh, you should put the dishes away versus not. It's like, no, we're talking about more, loose topics. We're not talking about the weather. We're not agreeing on stuff. We're even purposefully disagreeing, right? So we can really establish and think, right, and kind of debate, right? And it's the civil discourse, which is such a crucial piece of developing critical reasoning skills. That like the idea of like, oh, I disagree with you, so just like shut up. Like shut up. I don't even want to hear it. Shut up. Like this is bad. You're dumb. Yeah, like you are an idiot, but like me just telling you to shut up, you're not gonna. How's that gonna help you like realize that you're wrong? Like I'd rather trap them in some like, thought experiment where they realize that like, oh, all right, I guess there's a point there, or something. And even the ones that you don't ever end up changing your mind. You at least have like, you've heard some, rebuttals to whatever your beliefs are. And that's really important. Whether or not you're going to change your mind, at least like be aware of some, the criticisms. Even if you think you can adequately respond to them, continue to challenge your beliefs and understand new criticisms that evolve and develop, in different situations. It's always different, right? Maybe this example that I gave you, your belief really just knocks it out of the park and makes you look stupid, right? That doesn't mean it's going to apply to every single case, right? We chose one case out of 1,000 different hypotheticals that your argument wins, right? What about the other seemingly infinite number of instances where we still have yet to decide what's right and what's wrong? And maybe you win 50% of the time, but 70% of the time, whatever, it's still like you can't, disregarding mine just because it's not 100% foolproof. Again, we're living in a gray world, and you can't make anything black or white, including your, whatever line of reasoning that you're defending so vehemently and have now decided that the opposition's not allowed to speak anymore, right? That's dangerous in my eyes. And again, it still comes down to this idea of free speech. So, I don't know. It's all I can say. But anyway, interesting. I guess I'll wrap up there because it is time. But thanks for watching. leave me a comment. Let me know what you think on any of this. Again, I do enjoy arguing. I think it's healthy for people to argue. Not in a way that makes people cry, but it's healthy for people to argue and challenge themselves, especially in verbal talk. So I don't know. I encourage you to feel stupid. Go feel stupid someday. Today, tomorrow. Go out and challenge yourself to feel stupid in an argument. But anyway, I'm done rambling. So see you next time. Peace out.